Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my Patreon supporters, Ben. Thank you very much for the support. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. Also, you can be like Ben and support me on Patreon. So in this case, I'm just finishing off farming for Guildna's last psalm, and of course, you can get his 10 sovereign psalms in Beast King's Castle very hard. And the reason for that is, at the end of the day, I might as well upgrade all my core character and story characters 5-star because you can get them for free. So, let's see at the end of this particular boss battle whether or not the last psalm will drop for us. I also have had some pretty good luck in this dungeon as well, so if you haven't already, make sure you check out some of my videos on the chant scripts and treatises that have dropped here. Alright, so we got the moment of truth. And... nice! The last sovereign psalm. I actually didn't really mind grinding here that much because you also do get to farm for Fane's Shadow if you'd like. So we're just going to switch in Guildna here. And we're going to head over to the old lady, of course, in the space-time rift, and pay the price it takes to upgrade Guildna to a 5-star. So the nice thing about story characters is you also don't need any chant script. So there you go. Sweet!
Stop flexing, Dad.
Nice. Another 5-star to add to my collection. And so we're going to review his 5-star moves as well as his plus 10 Sword of Despair. Now, of course, the question we always ask when we're reviewing 5-stars is he hot or not?
Ooh, he's hot with those 6-packs.
Yep, that's something I need to work on myself. Alright, so you can see his stats at level 72. I would say pretty average in all of his departments. He doesn't do extreme amounts of damage, and he doesn't have a lot of moves that does a high multiplier in terms of some of the newer characters out, especially after 2.0. That being said, for those who are interested, remember that in Japan, much later on from us, he does get a personal Grasta, which makes him a lot more powerful. So you can see his Valor Chant is still stuck at level 2, and we're just going to bring up his Sword of Despair as well. So for every ally defeated, which is a member of your team, if that person is dead, you can increase the damage of Guildna as well. And of course, some physical resistance up is never a bad thing. This is the 3 moves I'm going with. So Distortion is a very, low maintenance debuff of int 20%, as well as physical resistance 20%. So not the best in terms of int reduction. However, it is better than Morgana's 15%. And if you don't have a Seti or Yuna or, for example, Annabelle at 5-stars, it's not a bad person to put in if you really need to reduce int. Now the problem is it only lasts 2 turns, so there is a downside there. Celestial Saber is one of his 5-star moves that is unlocked, and it's very reminiscent of AS characters in that it stacks orbs on Guildna, such that when he has enough orbs, he can release all the power when he does his other move, which we'll go over shortly. It's very unique because most regular characters don't have orb stacking. He also does have Calamity, which is an improved version of the Flare Break that does AoE Large Fire Slash. So Calamity does XL Slash to all enemies, and again, when he has more orbs stacked, it'll do more damage. And I'll do a demonstration of that later on. Keep in mind, in conjunction with Sword of Despair, where if you have downed enemies, characters on your side, you can do a tremendous amount of damage. But then again, who wants to kill off their own team, right? So there's the 5-star moves that are unlocked, and here's the rest of the boards. Keep in mind that he does have a beast personality, so if you haven't, make sure you either watch my video on the AF finisher for the beast, which you can either use with Myris or something along those lines. I also didn't equip any Fire Grasta or any type on him because at this point he is not much use yet. So let's take him out for a spin. First of all, we'll just use his crowd control calamity to see what it's like against some lower level enemies. Again, being a fire slash, it still does decent amount of damage, and again, when you're farming for lower level enemies, it will be more than enough to take on and wipe out those enemies. Now here we're going to take a level 48 horror on that's weak to fire. So what we're going to do is we're going to build up 3 of the saber stacks, and then we're going to unleash the calamity to show you the damage on an enemy who's weak to fire, as well as with the 3 orbs. Now keep in mind, he's only by himself, so there is no additional multiplier for having dead teammates. But that being said, even by itself, the slash does do a decent amount of damage. It is fairly mana intensive though, so your MP can run out in a prolonged fight. Alright, so you can see my favorite bot team has been brought. I mean, I've pulled enough of them over the last few weeks, and we're going to use them in conjunction with Guildna to demonstrate what it's like when all of them are dead. Now, if we can remove them from the 10 pulls, that would be amazing. But my friend and I were actually talking about that, and imagine you had a 10 pull, and instead of having a common door with a bot behind it, imagine you just open it and it was just a blank space. I don't know if that would be more depressing, or would you guys rather have that? So let me know in the comments below if you'd rather have an all or nothing thing where you either get, you know, a 5 or 4.5 or 4 or nothing, or if you'd rather have these bot fillers. And there you go, with no armor and gear, the bots are just fodder for this horror. But that's okay, we want them to die. Okay, so you can see my stacks are all built up to 3 stacks. And we're just going to make sure that the last bot dies, which he's done a very good job of doing. And we're going to first apply the debuff distortion, which again is only 2 turns, but it's not bad being that he's by himself. And you can see 383k damage, so quite a bit more than the first example when he was just against other enemies. So in conclusion, I would say, hey, if you have the time and you have the patience and the right keys, you can farm for Fame's Light, as well as don't forget the Beast King's armor is not too bad. It's not as good as the Eastern. However, it still gives the second best stats in the game, minus any upgrade costs. So you can do that while farming for the 10 Psalms. And then once you're done, hopefully you have some luck in pulling some chant scripts as well. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.